I would rather upset someone by being honest than upset someone by lying. And people always choose the latter.
Welcome back to another episode of Relentless Life on Your Terms. Season 7, as I promised, bigger and better, going international. Here we are in London with a friend I've known for over 30 years. Peter, how are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Now, you have a very, very interesting journey. We're going to talk about every facet of that, covering what an amazing salesperson you are, into the great business that you've built, into your philanthropy, which is a very close thing for both of us. Let's start right at the start.
Well, Chris, the early incarnation of my journey was very much worked in my dad's fish and chip shop, from 7 years old. So I guess I maybe had a very skewed view of the world at that time, because working in a family business, as you know, is quite tough. But a lot of what I learned was a mixture of working from very, very young in terms of manual labor.
So hard work.
Cutting potatoes,
Yep.
Not just the prep, the clean down. I saw a business that ran 6 days a week, that even though the doors opened at 12 p.m., the work started at 7 a.m. And then even though the business closed at 10 p.m., 12 p.m., we're still there packing down.
So you saw the prep and the wind down. So you saw what it took. It wasn't just the trading hours.
Yes.
Which is probably something you've taken into your business, which we're going to cover.
Yes. Yep. Now, I would like to say my father was a great businessman. He was a very hard worker, very charismatic, but unfortunately not a very good business brain. So I learned from him hard work and manual labor. But when I was 19 and I got my first job, which was selling cars for Toyota UK.
Now, you're a very successful salesperson. You started very, very, very young. So I want to talk about that. You won best salesman 2 years in a row. Tell us a bit about your journey and how young you were as a principal. Now, I know the journey, but share it with us.
Thank you. So, arriving at 19 with my experience, within a business world, selling cars to me at the time sounded really glamorous. And I remember reading the newspaper, with the job being available. At that point in my life, I'd never been for an interview, but I always in my head had very good confidence. I would say one of my greatest skill sets is building rapport
and people.
And the reason for that is I went to 10 different schools. So always being the foreign kid, the only Greek in the village, I learned to build up rapport very quickly and make friends.
Because you had to.
Because I had to, as a survival mechanism. I was always the new guy. And, racism in England, back then wasn't, it was quite fragile. There was often, threats, from local lads, but I built a skill set to diffuse things very quickly and make people laugh.
Which was being hospitable, having good relationship skills. So how did that help in sales, do you think?
So when I went for the interview, it was like, oh, it's first day at school.
Yeah.
Right? So, building rapport with the manager. I had no idea at that point about Toyota as a brand. We knew it from Cyprus, the Toyota pickup trucks.
Of course.
But I landed at a company that was the best place for me to be. Toyota is, as the world knows it, is one of the most, and is the most reliable car in the world. Toyota and Lexus, it's fact. So I didn't know at the time, I guess, that God was giving me the best product, because the range at the time, the Corolla, the old cars were not sexy at all. They were really, really horrible looking cars. But I nailed the job. I remember I was put in a position when my parents got divorced that I had to step up. I had to pay my mum's mortgage in effect and contribute to the household. So I didn't really have a decision to make in terms of going to university.
You had action. You need to make money.
I needed to make money now. So it was all by accident, the way I read the article, but I've got into Toyota. And again, I remember the first day and everyone was telling me, you don't know what you're doing. Don't talk too much. Just listen to what we do. I did the opposite. I ran to the customers. I had no idea about the product, but I was building rapport in the way that I knew how. Getting coffees, getting teas, putting them in the car, driving them around.
Being of service.
being of service. First day, I did a hat trick.
You
I was
sold
known as
3
the
cars.
hat trick kid. And I remember at one point when we took them to the finance desk, the guy's going, he's looking at his wife. She's, you know what? It's a great deal, but you know what? We'll think about it. We'll come back tomorrow. And I'm like, no problem, sir. And my manager's looking at me going,
Shut up.
shut up.
Yeah.
You know, but they did buy the car. They did sign. So I was doing something maybe that wasn't, drilled sales, but there was something. And I remember the guy saying, what is this guy doing that we're not? Right. So at the time, the manager I had, our branch out of 14 branches across the Curry Motors Group that the Jaffe family owned, very, very wealthy family from South Africa, and cars was their thing. Been doing it since the late 70s.
They had like 14.
Well, 14 branches at that time only in the UK, but they had franchises for different brands of dealerships in America and around the world. So the way that things worked there was we were always put in leagues and leaderboards, not just amongst ourselves as a team, but other branches.
So it's competition without opposition. I wanted to push you to get greater and greater.
Yeah. So when I had this manager, have you ever heard of the pendulum closing technique?
No.
So pendulum is, as it says, it's a pendulum that swings. So you sit down with the client. And this is what this manager taught me to do, which was really against all of my grain. This just felt alien to me. The client, the car's 9,995. The client will say, I'll go ahead if you can do it for 9,250. So you get a bit of paper out. You get them to write, in effect, can you please put your offer here? 9,250. I'm just going to go and speak to my manager to see if I can agree this for you. And I would be the pendulum. So I'd go to his office. And he would not agree it by putting a sad face. And I remember at that time when he did that, well, this is stupid. I can't believe I'm going to go back now with a piece of paper in a main dealer Toyota ship with a client to say, sorry, is a sad face. He said, no.
It's like an emoji. Yeah.
And I'd go backwards and forwards. And I remember one time just ripping it up and saying, you know what? I'm not doing this. This is what we can do. I kind of bypassed him. I signed the contract and he was furious.
Why?
Because I didn't do it the way he wanted to.
But you got the sale.
And yeah, I've experienced that in every company. They want me to do it a certain way, and I'm always professional within the company guidelines. But I know how to close a client. I know how to build rapport, and I'm always listening to what the person wants.
You said that to him on the car here, and it fascinated me as you have grown and evolved, because every person aspires to get better and better. When you get a new job or a new position before you started the business, which we'll talk about later, you don't talk for a week.
That's right.
And share with me what you shared with me in the car.
When I got headhunted.
When you go to a new
when
job.
I go to a new business, I'm a mute for the first week. I'm a mute. I just listen to what everyone is doing, how things feel, what clients are saying, even in the service area where people were getting their cars serviced and getting a coffee. I would sit among them and just listen.
Why?
Because I like to hear what is going on. Once I have a viewpoint from everyone, not within the business, but also externally.
So what they're saying.
Yeah, it allows me to build the correct narrative of what the business is doing, correct or not correct.
I looked at things when I was in sales. I did things slightly different. I'd always ask, who's the best closer in this office? And I can name every role that I've done who it is. And then the second question was, can I spend a week with them? And I used to shadow them. So door to door was Mario. On the phones was Barry. Fastway Couriers was Colin. In homes was Valerio. So I knew them. And I wanted to just learn by side, because I knew that they're doing something right. I wanted to know, how are they getting their leads? How are they closing? But what can I bring into my game to get better and better at what I do? So it always interests me what different people do. But listening is always a very, very key
Did
quality.
you say doing that by shadowing someone who's more experienced? In effect, it's a mentor, isn't it? You're getting a mentor for a week or two. Did you say that helped you evolve quicker?
I knew that, but I also wanted to see in this business, in this product, in this company, who's doing the best and why. So I'll give you an example. When I got the job at Fastway Couriers, I asked him, can I ask you a question? Sure, Chris. Is there any leads here? After I've asked that, he goes, as many as you want. Just wait a second. I'm like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I've come from door knocking, telling mate, this is amazing.
Leads? In sales, leads are gold, yeah?
He walked out, it's everything. Whatever, give me anything, I'll close. Comes in, bangs like a white or yellow pages book at the time, call that. There's as many as you want. And I started laughing.
Cold
Anyway,
calling.
yeah,
Right, yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Then
So there's a saying, right? The hot leads, the warm leads, and
the Glengarry leads.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
then I said to the guy, I go to Colin, how are you generating all these sales? And he goes to me, do you see this here? I go, yeah. This is Sydney. This is who's getting all the sales in Sydney. So I go into the same branches in Melbourne and I say, I'm your preferred supplier in Sydney. That's my leg in. That's the warmed on. He closes them and I said,
Just that one sentence.
because he's got
And
the
you're in.
preferred, he's got that confidence. And everyone did something different. Barry would smile, he's a telemarketer, and he's got a mirror. And he's smiling at himself all day. What are you doing? He goes, it shows my attitude. How I look is how I speak on the phone. So all day he's smiling. And he can maintain his attitude. They all had little techniques. Some worked, some, you got to bring them into your personality.
But it helps to see the person say the right thing.
100%.
I've known Chris since I was 12 years old.
34 years.
34 years to be exact. I think you're exactly the same, to be fair. You haven't changed much. I like to think I haven't either in certain ways. But when we lived in Cyprus together, we were playing pool at a place called Wise Place, I believe.
remember.
Very famous spot, playing pool. We had our 20 cents, 5 or 6 of them stacked up on the table. We're enjoying ourselves. I think we had some female classmates there. There's a couple of the guys, it's like Greece, right? We're playing pool. A couple of the older kids rock up. I think they were specifically Greek kids, right? They were from the island, so there was a bit of aggression there, but I think they must have been 18, 4 or 5 years older than us. So the guy comes over and he says, I'm playing next. And you say, no, you're not. And he goes, we're playing, we're playing next. You said, no, we're here for a while. You ain't playing next. So he looks at you, looks at the coins and throws off the coins. And he says, I'm playing next, and puts his 20 cents. You get down on the floor, you pick up all the 20 cents, polite, kind, you put them all back and you say, no, we were here first. Now, this went on uncomfortably, I think, for a good 5 or 10 minutes. But that's what you have for something that's just and something that's right. You're relentless. There was you were going to cop a beating. He was about to start kicking the shit out of all of us. And then thankfully someone goes, he's Zen's brother, right? And your brothers, as we know, are famous badasses that no one would mess with. So as soon as he went, oh, Zen? And he dusted you down and he went, I'm so sorry, you are next. But that mindset is something that stayed with me, that you're unwavering, whatever the situation.
Why the podcast called Relentless?
Yes. I would love to tell it, but I think it may tarnish both our reputations, what we got up into the classrooms in Cyprus. I think the story I'd like to share is when I saw you after many, many years. I think the last time I must have saw you was 15, 16.
Yep.
And then I think we were about 20 years old, 21 when I came to Australia for the first time.
Yeah.
You picked me up. And your nickname back then was Pee-wee, because of Pee-wee Herman. It was before my time at the school. And I said, how are you, Pee-wee? And he goes, no one calls me that anymore.
I had a shaven head that looked like the actor.
Yeah. You had your George Michael earring, right? Yeah. And was it a Falcon, Ford Falcon you were driving at the time? 5 litre?
No, it was a Holden, yeah.
A Holden, yeah?
Holden.
So instead of driving me anywhere, you drive me straight to the snooker hall, because we had a bit of friendly rivalry when we used to play when we were younger. And you proceeded to batter me. I couldn't do anything after a 24-hour flight and jet lagged. And then you turned and looked at me and you went, and sorry, at the airport I did say, so if your name's not Pee-wee, what's your nickname now? You go, like, it's the Potter.
Yeah. And I whipped him a pool.
And then you whip me up at snooker and you look at me and you go, that's why they call me the Potter.
That's it. So going back to your story, you were salesman of the year.
Yeah, I mean, look, I would love to take the credit for all of that. There was something in me, but I only became that when because our branch was doing horrifically. Out of the 14 branches, we were bottom when I joined. Now, quite rightly so, after 2-3 months of this BS pendulum nonsense, the MD of the franchises came in, he was gone.
And then, tell us about the story. Yep.
The main man arrived, the legend that is David Eagle.
Yeah.
He was managing, or the dealer principal. A DP in the motor trade world means you're responsible for servicing, parts, and used and new car sales. So you're a
So
dealer
4
principal. Yeah, it's 4 different components of
Yep.
the business, and obviously everything else that comes with it. Now, David Eagle was coming from the best branch to the worst. And what I learned from him was how important a process, the better your process, the better the end result for the business and for the client.
So you can duplicate a process, you can't duplicate a great salesman.
Correct.
Because they usually can't train someone. But if
Correct.
there's a script beginning, middle, and end and they follow, they can get better and better at it.
Correct.
That's
So
what I was taught too.
even though I'm, I love to talk, but because I listen, I like to listen because I don't know what I'm doing most of the time.
Was you new, you're young.
Even in boxing at 46, the reason I'm evolving is I just listen to what the better people say, and then I implement it in the best way I can until that result is the same. So David Eagle's the most, he looks like a rugby player. He's 6'4". Yeah. We used to call him jug ears, massive hands. He just doesn't look like a salesman. He looks like a rugby player. He would do this thing where he'd meet someone and he'd always tilt his head like a puppy dog.
Yeah.
And he'd just do this little thing and flutter his eye. It's a big guy. All of a sudden, he just commands the room just by doing this one thing. So I learned that. I used to watch him do it, and then I started incorporating the puppy dog. I call it the puppy dog technique. Just tilt your head.
Gets people to lower their guard and probably
Doesn't
listen.
it?
Because it relaxes. All these things work if they're done correctly.
And he'd
go on.
always smile. He'd tilt and then smile. And he'd always say, "How can I serve you?"
You see, the difference is when you smile, it releases endorphins. It gets people to think different, and it can disarm anything. And it's a very, very key aspect in sales. If you just smile,
Isn't that something you do with your team?
I do that. I always do that. If someone comes with a challenge or a problem, stop, smile, whatever it is, we're going to fix it, because it gets you to think of the problem differently. It also releases endorphins. And if you're going to deal with an issue anyway, why not do it with a smile on your face? And you'll come at it from a different angle. But also it's more pleasant. But it's a very, very good thing to see someone. So he didn't want you there though, did he? Because you were too young. So you were one of the youngest principals.
What happened was David Eagle became my mentor. If that guy said to me, jump, it would be how high. The guy wants to go to his family with the airport, don't book a cab. I'll pick you at 5 a.m. I'll take you. But there was always a give and take. Because my father was in my life, but he wasn't. He wasn't a good male role model. David Eagle is one of the first positive male role models I had in my life, in the sense that he showed me what success can look like. And he said to me, and I figured out, we realized after a few days, he came to every salesperson in the showroom and said the same thing. And he said, come to our desk, he'd say, "I've heard a lot about you." And you go, "Yeah, I hear you're the best here." "I am." But he said that to all 5 of us. All right. But his management skills were like nothing I've ever experienced before.
He wanted you to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
It's Dana Goodson trained many world champions. Stan the Man was one of them. Every fighter that he walked out, he'd always do the same thing. You know what he'd do when he'd walk out? Number one, every one of his fighters, because he wanted them to have that mentality to believe.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what he did.
Yeah. So these little comments in between, I'd imagine that's like a Jose Mourinho with football. He is that to the motor trade. So, back then, a really good performing branch would maybe sell 25 new cars, 25 used cars a month.
Yep.
Okay, around 50 units. Okay, it's good business. When David Eagle arrived, and with David Eagle, he was the front man, and he had this one principle in the showroom. I have one rule that you must all obey. All right, everything else I'm really flexible. We can talk about it. But if you can't close a client, they do not leave my showroom until they speak to me.
I love that. Yeah.
So we would take the client all the way. And even sometimes with glee, you'd go to David, "I'm tagging you in, been with for an hour." It's a dead end. It's a dead end, bro. He'd come over. He'd do the puppy dog. He'd smile. Within minutes, they're signing for a new car.
What a machine.
And me seeing that over and over.
Instilled that in you.
He'd never say to you, "Do this," like the previous manager.
He would show you.
He'd always show and lead from the front. So when there was nothing going on, let's say we're having a quiet few days, you'd see this guy. You'd see this guy with a broom on the forecourt, sweeping.
Really?
Yeah. And you'd run out. "Dave, boss, what are you doing?" Just thought I'd give this place it's a bit dirty, isn't it? If it's a bit messy, shall we, before you know it, all
Someone's
of us are
coming.
out. We've got the broom off him. We're clean. We're moving stuff around. We're making stuff happen.
Motion creates emotion, emotion
Yeah.
creates sales.
You just was leading always from the front. So why there was always situations, we've got, let's say, new registration coming out where we've got to, deliver 50 cars in one day. We've got 50 families in effect coming to pick up new cars. The valeters haven't come in, It's a big commotion. The valeters are not here. We're all moaning. We're all crying. What does he do?
Calm.
He goes to the back, gets the chamois, gets the bubbles,
Starts.
starts cleaning the cars.
Calm. Gets a solution. Gets it done. Action.
Not, it's not I'm the big boss. No.
Let's go.
This is how, the only way we're going to solve this today is by us cleaning the cars. And
Let's
that's what
go.
we did.
Which you lead from the front. Now, you were the one of the youngest as well, weren't you?
Well, I was very young at
Europe.
19, but what I did was unprecedented. So we're talking about the sales statistics. We went from sort of below average with David coming and me next to him, and a very good team, shall I say, of administrators and other sales executives. We started hitting 100 cars a month, 50 used, 50 new, unprecedented. I would say around 25% of that volume was me.
Out of how many salespeople?
We're talking about a team of 5. So the average, if you're having a good month, if it's 5 or 8 cars,
80-20.
my average became around 20, 30 units a month, to the point.
Which is why you got salesman of the year twice. And you were the youngest?
I was the youngest, but after 2 years, now before Google reviews and online reviews, you know what I used to do? I used to get my clients' birthdays, which I still do to this day. And used to get them to handwrite a letter, a review about my service and why they bought the car. I have all the letters to this day. I'll send you a photo of them. And they used to get sent directly to the owner of Curry Motors. And there would be 30, 40 letters coming every month. Before online reviews, the person had to physically write it, put it in an envelope and post it. And I've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these paper reviews. I used to put them on my desk in a folder. And I used to have all the comparison cars, Honda, Toyota, all the reviews on my desk. Without me realizing, I was creating visual closing points for the client. So when I'd say, I'm just going to go and get you a coffee, I would throw the book in front of them. So they're just perusing my reviews and the best car, Toyota. So I was doing all these things. This is something,
was that subconscious?
Yeah, this is something, my desk was different to everyone else's, the way it was structured, the way they calculate. I still have this system today, my visual cue points, where my calculator is. I want to be efficient and I want to be
all
fast.
These 1%ers, they help client experience, but they also help you reaffirm if the client's kind of 50-50 and a bit of a nudge, here they go.
Yeah.
So obviously you were very, very good at sales and you did that for a very long time.
I did that. I was there for 7 years, but in after 2 years in that business and David Eagle and 2 years on the bounce, my mentor sat me down. He says, "We've got the call. You're going to be the youngest dealer principal in Toyota history. We're going to move you to the Harrow branch," which at that point became the worst performing branch.
So the youngest in when was it, Europe?
Yeah, I was the number 1 salesman for 2 years, not only in the country but the whole of Europe.
That's incredible. And I love Toyota because they got the Kaizen mentality, the 1% better.
It's exactly the Zen. They have it on the production line.
So, of course, how to get better. So I had a theme a year ago with Reventon, which was Kaizen, and I gave everyone a book, Atomic Habits by James Clear, which talks about improvements.
Yes.
So it's a very, very special
So other
thing.
business leaders and other manufacturers
have adopted Kaizen. There's
gone to
banks that have the Toyota way, they call it, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So from that, obviously, you did that. You were the youngest person to do it. That's a massive congratulations. Now you've started your business, which you're doing very, very well. Tell us a bit about the Panayiotou Group.
Thank you. So finally got my own business.
Yeah.
We were 6 years old on October the 4th.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So it's a big month. As you know, getting married this month. The business is 6 years old, and fighting for an amateur title fight at York Hall, Bethnal Green on the 18th of October this month as well.
Which was great. It's your fourth fight, undefeated to this point, fighting your first fourth rounder, tough opponent, and we hope you're going to go well.
Thank you.
Especially we had your Bucks in Cyprus as well,
Yeah,
a weekend.
We did.
So the prep had a little bit of a dent, but
yeah, we're back. We're back tomorrow.
Back now. We're back training, which is good.
So yeah, the Panayiotou group was incorporated a little bit by chance actually, because I was headhunted, but actually they sort of made me go self-employed rather than what I thought it was going to be. So I started the company, and in the first year, in effect, it was servicing one family who owned 400 units. Now that happened, end of 2018, 2019, the pandemic hits. And I've never dealt with the homeless or social market before that point.
I know when you shared a story, which we'll talk about a little bit towards the end. I want to talk a bit about Panayiotou Group and then a mutual sharing of helping homeless people. But obviously in 6 years, you've built a successful business. Give us some of the key milestones, and you're going from strength to strength, how it started, how you scaled it, now to start employing people and increasing your team.
Yeah. So, I actually didn't, I had about £1,000 at that time from various previous failures. I had a very tough time in between great success and the incarnation that I am now.
But also health. So there was a number of factors which contributed.
Yeah, I suffered with Crohn's disease for a number of years, lost a lot of weight. So in a way, this business is a miracle, and also I think a testament to resilience. Now, we have a choice in life, and I've learned you have to fight for the life that you want. You have to keep punching. You can't leave things till tomorrow. I've built this business by being ultra responsive. I mean, you send me an email. I know people say don't check. Everyone's got their own system. But for me, I think it's great respect when your clients contact you with a problem and you respond with them with saying it's already in hand. So reassurance and rapport and responsiveness is, I think, what my body, my business embodies. So we pulled off a miracle by housing, between 350 and 400 homeless people in the pandemic, which at the time I thought was a very noble thing to do. But having seen it from the other side, you can see how difficult it is housing people with mental issues or drug addictions. Giving someone a home is not an answer without the right support. And that's why, as a business, we house people, but that's why homelessness is very important to me. And I'll tell a story about you, Chris, if you don't mind. But Chris you came to England, I think it was about 10 years ago.
2015.
And I was really unwell at the time. You hadn't seen me for a while. I hadn't seen you for a while. And something, I hadn't realized what you'd become, how successful your business was doing and the person that you've evolved to. So to see you come over at that time when maybe a bit of hope was lost for me, it was like to see one of my best friends show me what could be done if you are relentless, which you were. And I've known you from 12 years old, and one thing I can say about you, you're definitely not the smartest, but you're the most hardworking. You're the most kindest person I think I've ever met. And one thing that Chris did was, he gives, but he gives in silence. And for me, it was Christmas, it was cold. He was taking people off the streets. You were taking people off the streets. You were getting money out your own pocket, food, putting people somewhere for a night for them to stay, giving them enough if they want to go to a hotel. And that really opened my heart in a way. I think that kind of put me on a path to start having the business that I've always wanted, so I could action and do what you were doing.
I actually forgot about that. And I remember walking the streets in London when we were shopping between and having an amazing time and going for so many homeless people. I remember giving money and doing things, but I don't remember exactly what. And that was in 2015.
Yeah.
And when a few people share stories with me that are so old that have good impact in our community, it reminds me of, it just makes me very happy. And seeing my friends follow suit and business partners, it's very, very important to give back to your community, especially when you've gone through tough times like you have, I have. We're all human beings. You want that bit of hope.
Absolutely.
And it could be anyone.
Absolutely. I think people need to hear that you're not always going to have a good day. No one does. You're not always going to be in a good mood. But the one thing you owe to yourself and anyone around you is to turn up every day, which is something maybe I never used to do. I stopped doing that at one point. And if you don't care about today, you're never going to be a success.
And it's funny, you said it was the catalyst to a little bit of hope, which turned your health a little bit better and focused on your vision. But if you go back and you look at your story, from the fish and chip shop to hardworking, to picking up all the skills in sales, to breaking records, to being the youngest, you were just preparing for what you're now doing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you had a dream to, sounds like Martin Luther King a bit, to start boxing. And traditionally at our age, you don't start boxing.
That's right.
So when did you start?
About 10 months ago.
Cool. So I knew it was about a year. And I knew the answer. I wanted the listeners to hear. You've had 3 fights and 3 wins. So you can always do something if you're in a good team.
Never too late. It's never too late. And it's amazing when you get to a point where you, I guess, a version of success of what people look at, but then you can inspire those around you by continuously doing difficult things week in,
like
week out.
David Ingle did. He didn't tell you.
He showed me.
you.
He showed me.
That's the best leadership. I don't listen to what people say as much anymore. I watch what they do.
Exactly.
People will always show you who they are.
Absolutely.
You just need to believe them.
Exactly.
So you want to have a vision of someone, but I actually watch what they do.
Sure.
I watch how they lead. That's all I need to know.
Well, character is what one does in the dark, not when people are looking. So it's very important that your mentor has the right integrity. And every business that, for me, David was always it's always about the client. It's not about us.
Client experience.
I learned about service, how to get a 5-star review, because in that moment, it's not about you. People think it is. Oh, you start panicking. It's not. It's about the client.
So you turn it around to get the other ego now.
It's always about the client. So at the Panayiotou group, we do lettings and property management. And we're now going, we've started doing refurbishments and more complicated projects. But I never thought I'd be, managing refurbishments of properties and designing HMO houses and rooms and choosing, and our kind of standard has become the standard. We really driven up the quality of what a house share could be. And we now manage around 250 residential dwellings that make up HMO houses. And compliance in this country is very dangerous now. You can be fined up to £30,000. So we protect our landlords from any fines. We minimize the hassle. And it's very hard in the service industry. We are the highest rated estate agency in the whole of the country. We're not the biggest. We're not making the most, but we give the best service.
But you're also creating impact, yeah? And you see, and I want to just circle back, that story you shared at 215 is very meaningful to me, because a few years later I was following with Vinny's and I became an ambassador. So I was doing those things well before I was working with Vinny's. And that's when someone convinced me to start, and that's been 8 years now.
Yeah.
That was 10 years ago, 215. Well, no, it wasn't. It was almost 12 years ago.
Yeah. So in Cyprus, you did call me to the Four Seasons for a lovely Four Seasons brunch.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me sharing, this is one of the gifts you gave me. And watching you do this for Vinny's, and I know you've hit records in the funds that you've raised for charity. I think it's absolutely amazing and really inspirational. And I hope to follow in your footsteps and have the same or more impact. So every year we donate sleeping bags to Shelter Charity and the local Barnet CAB homeless charity. I take my family, I take my girls with me. We buy shampoos, we buy soaps, we buy what we can. I remember in the first year of the business, I could only spend £100.
But you did, and you helped.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. People think it's always money. It's money. I've met some volunteers at Vinny's. They're amazing people. And I've been asking them, how long? 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. People that are retired, young people that have spare time. Incredible. Now, if you've got money, that's great. If you've got time, that's great. If you're blessed or lucky like we are, you can give both, that's great. You can start the conversation, raise awareness. There's no excuse for not doing something. And when good people do good things, it's And
Well, I've noticed the cycle. Every time I give, it comes back tenfold.
there's I think
It's absolutely unbelievable. The more I give, the more I get back. The more my business grows, the more instructions we get, the more 5-star reviews we get. It's unbelievable. And every year we've always put the management fees to one side. We put X amount to one side from the fees that we generate to donate every year. And now, it's snowballed. We can deliver 300 sleeping bags. We can deliver 300 shampoo bottles. We can deliver, I think last year we raised around 11,000 from management fees plus the personal donations. And out of everything that we do, that is the kind of business that I've always wanted, where you can action kindness
of
in real
course.
time.
You know, when you said it comes back tenfold, if you give without wanting in return with the right reasons, it always comes back. And I say to my kids, money is a transfer of energy. If you give it from your heart, it will come back with its friends tenfold.
I love that.
The same thing, if you do something not nice, it's going to come back with its friend tenfold, karma. It will come back around. And it writes a lot about, I think it's in Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It talks about giving without expecting. And if you do that and you genuinely, like your Engel does, cares about the client first, guess what? Everything else is going to look after itself.
Absolutely. And listen, things always go wrong. But when you have integrity and
You
you're
fix
honest,
them and you stand in front of them.
the one principle I live by, that I die by now, and I never used to be like this, by the way, which is another reason I used to fail over and over again sometimes. I would rather upset someone by being honest than upset someone by lying.
Of course.
And people always choose the latter. They think by withholding the truth or suppressing the problem and not letting the person know, you're doing that person a favor. You're not. You're going to come across as a liar.
You're compounding something too. But the easiest thing to remember is the truth. And clients, I find, they understand that we make mistakes and we're human. But what people truly remember, the impact you can truly have, and what people truly appreciate is how you fix it. So when there's a problem at Reventon, I say step in front of it and fix it straight away. You're there when you want to close the deal. You're there when you want the money. You're there when the transaction. You better be with them when there's an issue.
Yeah. Where are you when there's the problem?
And I say to, if a problem comes into the company, you treat it like a new lead. You get on the phone and you fix it. Because usually a small problem compounds into something big when it doesn't have to.
Let me ask you this. If there's bad news for a client or something's happened, a delay, are they better hearing it from you first or them finding out first?
Always from us.
Correct.
But there's a shadow of a doubt.
Correct.
You want to get there for the glory, you want to build the business or whatever the case is, you better be there to show them. And I say to my clients when they sign, when I was personally doing the transactions and the sales, this is where our service begins. It doesn't end here. This is what you're going to do moving forward. These are our reviews. I would like you to see 6-month reviews, everything.
How's your retention in your business? How do you manage retention of your clients?
We're very, very fortunate. An average client buys 2.4 properties of us. A massive part of our business is based on referrals. So I look at 3 key things at the end of each year. How many clients bought again from us, repeat business? How many referrals did we get? Very, very important. We're very successful in these 2 areas. But the third, which is very, very important, how much new business came in. So I'm going to use easy numbers for the sake of this conversation. The 100 sales, 30 of them bought again. So we're doing very, very good. They're buying good products and they're making money.
30%.
We're making up the number. 30% of them referred people. So they're very, very happy with the service. They're giving us reviews. 40% new. Now, because I sell real estate, it's a high ticket item. I can't see the client 100 times. You've got 4, 5, 6.
How many houses does a person buy in their lifetime? No one buys.
Well, I have many clients that have bought over 5 now, but it's 5 over a long period of time. So I need referrals from that client and I need new business. So I measure all 3 pipelines.
How do you communicate with your clients once the property's sold? How do they hear from you?
They never hear from us again. So our
who? Sorry, who?
Yeah.
Who is this?
Yeah. So our clients hear from us every single month. We give them newsletters. They hear from our clients' experience officers and managers. They hear from mortgage brokers every 6 months. They do 6-month reviews. The first time when they're buying a property and it's getting constructed, they get monthly updates and reviews. The land's going here, the build's here from banks. They hear from us 30, 40 times while the property is getting constructed from different departments. They might speak to an accountant or financial planner. For me, those touch points are super, super important. And I want to know if something goes wrong, and I want to know straight away because I want to fix it. And I tell them.
It comes back to what we were saying about the transparency. Even you yourself, if there's a problem, you want to hear it first.
I need to know,
Yes,
though,
100%.
because I deal with it if it escalates to a point where it needs me, but I still want to know what's going on. Where's the inefficiencies in the business? Now, we're very, very lucky that we've got a great team. So we've got a 4.9% rating, 5-star Google reviews. We've only been trying aggressively going for them in the last 2 years.
Well, that's something we share, the service, how
Because
important the service is.
Don't tell me how good you are. Let your clients tell you. But also, I want to hear from the clients that aren't happy or they can do things better. So negative experiences or negative reviews are very, very important because they're lessons.
I don't call them anything negative experience anymore, which I used to, and I dwell on it. Now I call it a learning experience.
Of course.
And
but
it is.
You can't take that's the best lesson. So for me, it's very, very important. I know the good points of why we're good, but I want to know the areas, going back to Toyota, going back to Kaizen, where can we become better, faster, more efficient? Now, Peter, we can talk about real estate, we can talk about homelessness, we can talk about business all day. It's come the time now for your quick fire questions. Are you ready, sir?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
I was ready to do this one. Funny. Fish and chips or halloumi?
Halloumi.
Coffee or tea?
It's coffee now.
Boxing training or business meeting?
Boxing training.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh. Yeah, I think it's what I said earlier. Is you'd rather upset someone by being honest rather than lying to them.
Who told you that?
I'm not going to say.
Okay. One book, podcast, or resource that inspires you?
What book?
One book, you can pick one.
It was Gabor Mate's The Body Keeps the Score. It really, really helped me transform.
I've got to read that.
Yeah, it's not a business book per se, but it really helped me resolve
mindset
childhood
and health.
trauma. If anyone's got trauma in their life, which I know a lot of us have, especially childhood trauma, which can hold you back becoming the full authentic self, Gabor Mate, anything by Gabor Mate is very, very helpful.
From 1 to 10, whatever trauma you get, unless you can deal with it, it manifests for the next 70 years of your life. There's studies been done on it. You can read extensive on it, and it's fascinating. If you can't deal with what happened to you, and it might come up in a form of addiction, in so many different ways.
Chronic pain.
Sickness in your body, which is very, very important. One word that describes your journey so far?
Magical.
That is beautiful. Now, this is a very important question. On a scale of 1 to 10, Pete, how much have you enjoyed being on the podcast?
This is kind of, is there a minus or?
You can put.
It's a straight 10. Spending time with you is always a 10 in any capacity.
Well, I really appreciate it. I can't tell you how happy I am that I had an impact on the homeless work that you do here, which is very, very important. You're doing great things. Good luck on your 4th fight, winning your title.
Thank you.
Good luck on getting married to your beautiful wife-to-be and your beautiful family. Now, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more episodes of Relentless. Thank you, Pete.
Thanks for having me.